old Nintendo gamer.
And son.
I mentioned last week as well that I've been playing a couple of indie games and I haven't played them enough to talk about. And then Sam came along and gave me a review code for the Hong Kong Massacre, which I haven't finished the game and I'm still playing through it. It's not the longest game from what I can see. I can't give you a level count or anything, but it's basically the story of the Hong Kong Massacre is that you're a former police detective. You've been hospitalized and your police detective partner has been murdered by mafiosa in Hong Kong. So you're on this revenge trail of killing every single bad guy that stands in your way. And basically every level is a top-down view. And you have twin-stick controls. And it's basically a Hotline Miami clone, you know. It's a twin-stick shooter. What it does differently from Hotline Miami is the simple story. Hotline Miami is that psychedelic trip fest that you don't know where the story's going. It's intermingling the stories of other different people. You cross paths with people and then you go back to the person you just cross paths with and follow their story through. And it's quite a complex story in that. This is very simple, like I said. You know, it's that revenge. Go kill everybody in this level. And as far as twin-stick top-down shooters go, it's really, really solid. I mean, the movement of your character is solid. He's not too fast because he's got this feeling of walking like not a Terminator, a little bit faster than a Terminator, but he's walking all the time. He's never running. But you do have the ability to dive out of the way of enemy shots. So enemies come on the screen. You'll see a little red reticule above where they are on the screen, and as they get nearer to the screen, the reticule increases in size, and then they'll appear on screen. So you know exactly where an enemy is basically before you can actually visually see them. As soon as they're on the screen, if there's nothing between you and the enemy is going to take a shot at you. And this is what makes it really difficult. The enemies are really fast to react. And this, I played it on medium, so that's kind of like the normal mode. There is an easy, there is a hard mode as well. 3 difficulty settings. And enemy placements are pretty much the same every time you play it. There is a slight difference to their paths of walking around a room or whatever. But the only kind of thing that's changing between the difficulty is not the number of enemies, is the proficiency of the enemies. So how fast they are, how fast they react, and how they react to you. So I went on medium, and it's been tricky. Fair play. I'll have a couple of videos coming up this week now, just to complement what I'm saying here as well, to show you how difficult it is. But I was quite blown away by how difficult it is. Straight away, you're thrown into the first level, and bang, oh, I'm dead. Oh, bang, I'm dead. And you're having to, obviously, like Hotline Miami, repeat a single level 20 times before you get to grips with it and before you can get past it. Learning where the enemies are and learning the environment, because unfortunately, when I was playing, I'm going to compare this to Hotline Miami a lot, as you should imagine. From I love Hotline Miami, from its story to the way the mechanics worked to its fluidity and how fast it is. Hotline Miami is a faster game. The problem with this is going for highly detailed environments, and the environments are beautiful. Fair play. The kind of neon flashing green and red lights coming in there. As you pull the trigger on a shotgun, you get those particle effects of shards as they bounce off concrete pillars that are puffs of smoke coming up. It's a beautiful looking game. Apart from the character models, which are a little ropey, and the animation of the characters as they take a hit. You'll notice that they use the same animation every time, basically. You hit them and their arms go out and they get blown back in that kind of ragdoll animation, but it's the same one. And because it's that same animation every time, sometimes the animation of this, they'll clip through a wall or they'll do something strange. It's not often, but it's often enough to make you think, yeah, that's jarring. And the other problem with the environments is, because they're really highly detailed, it's very difficult to see the height of obstacles. Now, in Hotline Miami, a wall was a wall. If there was an obstacle, it gave you 100% cover. You just duck behind that cover and you know you were safe until you reloaded and come back out shooting. In this game, there's many times I've gone behind a box and I've taken a bullet to the head because the box isn't tall enough. Now, how you're supposed to tell that a box isn't tall enough from a top-down perspective can be very difficult. And that's one of the reasons that kind of made me not frustrated, but kind of like, yeah, you could have done a bit better there. There's also situations with windows. It's very difficult from a certain angle, especially right looking 90 degrees down on a window, to know it is a window or if it's a wall. Obviously, a window, enemies can see through a window and will shoot you through it. There's many times I've walked past a window, going do, and then I've taken a bullet to the back and I've gone, that was a window. So one thing you're going to have to do while you're playing through levels is learn the level architecture as well, which adds to the amount of times you're going to be playing through these levels, because you're going to be playing through them a lot. And it's like, that was a window, right, I'll remember that next time. That was that. What it does do good is its simplicity. There are basically 4 buttons, There's a dive mechanic, which gives you basically a temporary invincibility. So you're diving out of the way. You can dive as many times as you want, but there's a slight cooldown from when you stand up to when you can dive again. But the dive feels often at times really floaty. It's the way the animations aren't quite up to it, For the detailed environments, the animations of the characters isn't good enough, to be honest. And when he's doing this slide, you can imagine a John Woo film as someone is sliding and shooting the guns off at the same time. You're doing that from top down and it looks very strange. And you're locked into that slide in that direction, so you get your direction a little bit out and you are heading into trouble. And when you stand up, bang, you got a bullet in your head because you can't get out of the way. There's times as well where you'll be jumping at like a 4-degree angle away from where you're supposed to be using this dive. And sometimes, for example, you're diving over the top of buildings. It's spectacular in places. You've got 2 buildings and there's a gap to an alleyway down below. The vision is blurred to the alleyway for distance purposes. And as you come to the edge of one building to jump across to the other one, you want to dive across and let go with your twin bullet guns. And if you perform it well, you'll do this somersault over the top and looks good. You get a slight angle, a 4-degree angle off, and you are clipping that wall. You don't jump, you just stall, and it's messed up the entire animation, and you're probably going to take a bullet as well. So problems in clipping with the walls and all that, you kind of get used to those problems and you expect them, but they do make the game a little bit more unfair because it's a one-hit kill. The entire game, bad guys, 1 hit, they're dead. 1 hit, you're dead. There's a problem as well. I'm going through the problems now. What I'm not saying is it is a competent game. You will enjoy it if you've enjoyed Hotline Miami, but there are also problems with the enemy AI. In Hotline Miami, you shoot a gun within a certain proximity, and everyone in that area knows you've shot a gun because they can hear it. And that's quite intuitive, you would think. There's times when I've gone into a room, I've blown everything in the room to pieces, I've shot all the windows out, and then there's a door leading to the next room and an enemy standing right behind the door and he hasn't reacted in the slightest. But as soon as you touch the door, bang, he's shooting at the door like a madman. It's like that could have been your friend coming through the door for all you know. There's some also AI problems of they forget about you, which is understandable in this kind of game. But you'll open the door, shoot an enemy, then close the door. The door's automatically closed, so the doors always get in your way. You can blow the doors off with repeated shots. But once the door is closed, they don't know you're there again. They may look at the door, but they have no inclination to go towards the door, open it, and come towards you. They will never do that, which also feels a bit strange and takes you out of what the game is trying to do. And 2 other little niggles from what I gave on the website. If you go and read my review, is a 7 out of 10. It is solid, but the sound design the guns are too tinny. For this type of level detail and the detail in the clouds of smoke and all that coming off the bullets, you want chunky, loud, bass booming shotguns, and they're just not up to it. It's like ting, choo choo choo, and it doesn't feel like it puts you in the place. So that let me down a bit. And the last one is sometimes the objectives feel a bit unclear, especially when you come against a boss. And for example, you start the story, you've got 4 days, you start the stories like 4 days before this event, where what you are now. So you're sitting in a police station getting interrogated by a policeman saying, right, what happened 4 days ago? Then you got 6 levels of 4 days ago and then a boss. Then he goes back to the cutscene in the police station, goes, right, what happened 3 days ago? And then you go for the next. So you got 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, and then it's leading basically up to the present to find out what carnage you've caused in Hong Kong as an undercover police detective. So as you go through the first 6 levels, it's pretty regular bad guys shooting at you. You're shooting them. And it does feel good, It's got this slow motion bit which adds a bit of strategy as well, which has got a cooldown. So if you hit one of the buttons, I remapped my buttons. I can't remember what the original one was. I think it's the R button. Your shoot buttons on the ZR. You've got this cooldown meter for slowing down time. You can still take a bullet, but it gives you enough time to position yourself to make decisions of how you're going to take out the rest of the enemies, because they are brutal and they are accurate. So as you come against a boss, you've learned how to use slow down time. You've learned how to jump through windows and get into a room and clear a room out. You've learned that enemies take one hit, and then you come against the boss and you shoot him. Yeah, he's still alive. All of a sudden it's rewriting the rules, and then you try and jump through the window because he's across the other side. I'm going to jump through the window and come that way. You can break the window, you can't jump through it. And it's, okay, and it took me about 4 or 5 deaths before realizing, okay, right, this is what I need to do on this level. And that kind of annoys me in a bit. You're rewriting the rules just because you want to create this little boss fight. Once you've learned the rules, it did feel, I'm shooting across rooms and shooting through windows at this boss. It felt a little bit exhilarating, but to throw you in the deep end without any explanation of what you're going to do, and to learn by dying and repeating and dying and doing that, it felt, once again, unfair. Last thing to say about the game, which I did enjoy, is the upgrade system. Basically, every level, you get 4 stars, 1 star for finishing it and unlocking a new level, and then you get 3 stars for completing the level without using the slow down motion control thing. So don't use that, you get a star. Finish the level within a certain time frame. So you got 4, and the levels are not too big. They're quite small, compact zones, maybe 10 enemies in a level for a small one, maybe 15, 20 enemies for a bigger one. Complete a level in 40 seconds. And that's quite a push, actually, but with repeated attempts and going through, you can do it, because as you get these stars, you can then upgrade some of your weapons. 4 weapons to upgrade, 4 weapons unlockable, 4 weapons to upgrade, and you can upgrade, for example, my pistols at the moment have unlimited ammo, and I can reload them with an extra button. So I can just go into a room completely blasting, come back out, reload, and fill the room full of lead again. So you can get upgrades which make the game easier, like that, to your guns, which will take time by unlocking levels and doing these missions. The other 2 stars you get, the other star, is by completing, this is so difficult, completing each level with 100% hit accuracy. Which, yes, you can dive and not get hit, but so can the enemies. And as soon as you pull that trigger, you're locked into it, and an enemy dives, that's it, you've lost your 100% hit accuracy ratio. And I've gone through just the first level 20 times, and I've come to the last guy, shot, he's dived out of the way, restart. That is an infuriating little challenge to do, but when you do it, you do feel, oh my god, I've done something worthwhile here, and I've got that extra star, and now I can upgrade my clip and magazine size on my shotgun, and now I can make it easier for my next run. So overall, basically, a really competent top-down twin-stick shooter. But if you haven't played Hotline Miami, go and play that first. If you have played Hotline Miami and you want some more of the same, I don't think this will let you down. And I've gone on about its niggles, but that's because Hotline Miami, as far as I can see, doesn't have any niggles. So Hotline Miami is always your first protocol, but this, if you want a backup game that's in the same ilk, definitely look towards the Hong Kong Massacre. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.